Um, see if we can find. I thought this would be a cool video to watch for the time being. I'm not sure what we're looking at here.
Hero Wars is an online action RPG where your choice isn't limited to the usual pick.
Hello, YouTube. Guess what? The letter that we were
shit.
promised on the 16th is here. I haven't read it yet,
There we go.
but I have it pulled up. So this is from Mitsui, the producer of FF11, with a special message. So we're just going to read it, go over it, and I don't really know what to expect, so I'll probably give some thoughts at the end. And remember, this letter was supposed to be in addition to the stuff that we received on the longer live stream. So yeah, let's hop in and see what they were thinking here with that live stream plus this letter eventually coming. So anyway, let's check it out. Today, May 16th, 2022, marks FF11's 20th anniversary. We've been preparing for this wonderful occasion for a while, with an overarching theme of We Are Vana'diel, each and every one of us. Not just the development and operations team, but all of you wonderful adventurers, has helped shape Vana'diel into the world it is today. Over the past 20 years, we've been blessed to have you not only playing our game, but also inspiring us and pushing us to make FF11 an experience that is constantly improving, something for which we are eternally grateful. Yet, more important than any game system or piece of content are the stories that our adventurers have created for each other. Final Fantasy XI would have been unable to reach this point on the strength of the developer-made stories alone. That's a really fair point. The We in We Are Vana'diel also, be they developmental staff, QA team members, support staff, or any other of the myriad of people who have worked to bring the game to you over the past 2 decades. The infrastructure they helped to create supports the game to this very day, and it is impossible to overstate the effect their efforts have had on the running of Vana'diel as we know it now. Another member of the We is the gaming media, whose passion for our beloved world has helped it reach more fans and players than we ever thought possible. And of course, who can forget those who have supported us most of all as we create the game every day, our families and loved ones. In the 19th year of service, the 19th year of service was one for reflection as we headed into our 20th, and all the many We's of Vana'diel served as inspiration as we looked back on our time here. Thank you all for giving us so much wonderful food for thought. Slightly ahead of the 20th anniversary, we added the song We Are Vana'diel as part of the May version update. And the composer was, of course, none other than Naoshi Mizuta himself. The song plays on the login screen. I hope you linger for a bit longer than usual before connecting and appreciate the musical masterpiece. The recording took place live and with actual instruments, a fitting tribute for a game with a long history as ours. Oh, that's cool. So it was an actual... I mean, it sounds like that live orchestra, kind of like Star Wars grand orchestral theme. And it makes sense that it was recorded live. That's actually really nice.
It's also a little bit cheaper to record that
you
shit
could have just
live,
done that,
in
done it
one
in the
take,
studio
as
and called
opposed
it a
to like
day.
trying
So
to
it's nice
get
to see they put
everything
the extra effort in.
perfect.
The new 20th anniversary logo as
individual
well. This
recording,
piece
so.
was drawn by Ryoma Ito,
As much as I'd like
and
to
he expressed the
say
idea of the number 20 through the chocobo motif.
That was a
After all, level 20 is when you're supposed to ride your
It
own
might not have been.
chocobo. That's right. Mr. Ito says he remembers when his Link Shell mates congratulated him on finally getting his own avian companion, so I can't help but smile at the warm memories this illustration must conjure up.
I gotta figure out how to get shit. Like I love this. He looks like he's in Juno or something. I gotta figure out. I don't know who I gotta pay to get those, but I like that shit.
Aww. What do you think, chat? Do you see this differently now? It didn't even click for me until reading this. But enough about the past. Let's talk about Vana'diel's 20th year of service
like he's
has
so
in
quiet.
store. Okay. I hope there's more tidbits of info here than we got on the live stream. The voracious resurgence marches ever forward to its conclusion, and as of the May version update, we're just about the story's halfway point. Most of the major actors have made an appearance, and now it's up to the adventurers to prove that they're exactly who Vana'diel needs in this moment. It's also getting close to the time for new battle content, so that you can get your hands on the prime weapons, which we've been hinting at over the past couple months. Be prepared for a new swath of powerful armaments.
Nowhere near prime weapons.
In other battle news, we're finally going to bring you Empyrean weapon reforging. This is a typo. We're finally going to bring you Empyrean armor reforging in 2 separate updates. One in summer and one in winter. Odyssey will also see increases to the Vengeance cap. And we're going to keep increasing the maximum master level as well. Okay, so there's only one more paragraph left, but it looks like they're just rehashing what was said on the live stream. But lest you think that we're going to rest on our laurels now that the 20th anniversary is here, let me assure you that nothing could be further from the truth. We remain ever committed to improving and adding new content to Vanadil, and the development and operations teams are going full speed ahead. And just as we continue to bring you new story content in the Voracious Resurgence, I hope that you will continue to create your own wonderful stories with your friends, allies, and fellow adventurers. We promise that we'll be with you every step of the way. Okay, so somewhere towards the end of the letter here, I realized what this is. The Japanese live stream.
They just basically summed up
was
like what they've already kind of been saying they were doing. Some of that stuff I definitely feel like it was fluff. I'm more on the side that if that like big thing they were talking about wasn't the mobile game that got axed, my guess is that like COVID probably really screwed them up, especially since they were already like on a tight budget and like a tight schedule as is.
Intended for the Japanese audience, which we know, having sat here and watched it, and there was some subtitles for some sections, but overall there wasn't. And clearly it was. I mean,
like that's another thing too. Koji Fox, I think, worked on 11 first. I'm like kind of shocked that he wasn't there for that, or like that they just couldn't have any kind of translator. Like that's kind of wild to me, and considering that like Final Fantasy 11 does have a little bit of like a cult following in the West. I'm honestly curious. I wonder if there's. I wouldn't have no clue where to search this or like where to find it, but I wonder if the Japanese audience, Western audiences, or maybe like you can split that between American, Aussie, and European audiences. I would be so curious to find that out.
There's not much to say there. It was meant for the Japanese audience. This letter is meant for the English-speaking audience, and it makes sense that it would take this form. Because this letter was announced to us in like version update notes and in the
we get like
in the monthly update video from like last month. So
5-hour stream was it?
Honestly, I don't know what I could have expected here.
I'll take the American one actually. I feel like
basically this is just giving us our confirmation on the things that are coming. I believe they're intended to be mutually exclusive. Yes, veracity. So, which is fine. I mean. So we basically were told some of this stuff in the version update. I guess it's nice to have it written out like as a letter like this. To come from Matsui, I think this ending paragraph is important. At least I know in my mind it did pass through my mind as like, all right, so we're getting new Rima weapons, we're getting MP reforges to +2 and +3, we're getting new battle content for the 20th anniversary, coming in the months to come. What's after that? Where can you go from there? And it's nice to have a word on that subject. I think that if we had gone over the next 6 months, obviously, so like leading into November is when we're supposed to get the last for the foreseeable future master level update is like, okay, so once that hits in November, like what else is happening in the game? Is it going to be another ROV situation where we go, all right, well the game's going to end soon, so enjoy your content, and I think that this last paragraph speaks to that point. Other than that. It's genuinely a nice letter.
I don't know. Yoshi P's definitely come out and said that he plans on because of the cult following of 11 that he plans on keeping the game going as long as possible. And like I don't really know how to interpret it, but basically I'd have to find the interview, but in one interview he just kind of shortly said that even if the game went offline, they would like find a way to make it still accessible to players. My guess is for like the private server audience. I mean, we already know that, private servers kind of stopped getting taken down as long as they don't compete with retail. And as far as we know, retail has no plans. Well, Square Enix really has no plans of making a vanilla server. And for like Square Enix, basically all those private servers pretty much fill the void for them. They don't have to like staff the people to maintain that. They don't have to staff the people to develop it. like the work's already done, and then people still end up buying the game, and people still end up going back to retail because of the nostalgia factor. So Square Enix is still making money even off private servers. All right. Well,
yeah. Not much else to say. So we're gonna close up the.
Caught up yet? Let's take a look at the. Let's see what Brian has to say about the AMA. I don't think I've watched this one yet.
I am a business hotel.
I have
eat, sleep, and breathe.
I have YouTube Premium, so when I'm in like incognito, I fucking hate ads. God damn it.
I would be honored to be your perfect.
Hey guys, I got some Final Fantasy XI news, and there's also a little bit of a discussion to have here, so I just want to jump into the core information for you guys, just to get this the 23rd on your calendar, because the Final Fantasy XI dev team is going to be holding a Reddit AMA on Monday, May 23rd. And if we jump into the details themselves, we'll start to see here just a little bit more information about what to expect here. Now, this is all in relation to the 20th anniversary of Final Fantasy XI, but also Final Fantasy is also stepping into its 35th anniversary, and we're already starting to see rumors and leaks about Final Fantasy 16 might be coming way sooner than everybody expected. At least that's what I ultimately hope. I'm
actually so nervous about Final Fantasy 16. I have like full trust in Yoshi P when it comes to like writing story and stuff like that. But I really, really hope 16 isn't just like a hack and slash game. I feel like it's going to be, unfortunately. It looks cool. I'm not going to sit here and talk shit on that. I mean, maybe he can pull it off. Because like 15 was cool. But it wasn't like my favorite when it came. Like there was no real use for magic and stuff like that half the time. I want like a fucking Final Fantasy game, especially if you're going back to the high fantasy type stuff.
I want to give you guys false hope, but I just want to give you guys the information of what I'm seeing out there online, and we can continue to discuss it. So put your expectations in the gutter and then also cross your fingers. I think that's probably the best way to state it. But let's go ahead and dive in. Short, simple post. I'll tell you guys what I would like to see answered by the dev team, and we'll go from there. So as a part of the 20th anniversary, the director and the producer are going to be holding a Final Fantasy XI development team AMA. Now, there's sure going to be a number of burning questions from the community, so they're going to be doing their best to answer as many as they can, and we're going to eagerly be awaiting your questions. Now, I plan on, and I'll cover the questions here on this channel, especially if anything interesting pops out to highlight for you guys. So whether you want to take part in it, note that I will be covering it here in the future, obviously after the 23rd. So it's open, AMA. Question and answer with the producer and the director. You can find the Reddit link here, also included in the link of this video. That's May 23rd. Question submissions open at 4 p.m. Pacific time. That's going to be 7 p.m. Eastern time. And then the answering is going to begin around 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, 9:30 Eastern. And questions and answering concludes around 8 p.m. PDT, 11 p.m. EDT. And so here's essentially what I would like to see asked and answered by the team. And hopefully this will happen, but ultimately I'm not going to...
Also, too, this is like fucking me up big time. I finally started playing with all like the graphic mods and stuff. And holy shit, the game looks so different. And so seeing like the game like base, and especially in like, I don't know what this video capture was. It looks like maybe 720. It shit fucks me up.
To sit here and try to give you guys like, oh, console and a full-on remake kind of a question, because honestly we haven't seen any hype building up to that. Obviously the 20th anniversary letter has coming on, and if they're going to be planning on something to blow our socks off of, well, I guess apparently we're going to have to continue to wait and see. The Hopium run.
Look, just take me to the Tab-Nazian capital. That's all I want. Look, it's something that was hinted at from like the opening before you even step foot in Vanadil. Aldo wants to go there too. It looked like he was supposed to go there. Maybe he did go there. I don't know. I feel like that shit writes itself.
Okay, it is what it is. But first and foremost, I think Final Fantasy XI would make a beautiful transition into the cloud as a client. And what that means doesn't mean that everybody's going to have the best internet to run that yet. But if you think about Japan, if you think about some areas within the United States of America, and you think about the type of game, this type, meaning type, the type of game the Final Fantasy 11 is that it'd be well positioned to be able to run in your browser. It'd be well positioned to be able to run on your Switch. It would be well positioned to actually make a return to consoles that actually support cloud streaming in the browser. Currently not the PlayStation 5, but we see that actually.
So actually, I need to research that a little bit, because I don't actually. I get it cloud-wise. I get it cloud-wise when it's maybe on Xbox 360, geez. When it's on Xbox, the newest one, Series S. And I don't know about PS5. I don't have a PS5, so I haven't touched it. But I don't know, does Switch, can you do that? Can you just add like shit from the cloud and just play it? Like, does it have like some kind of cloud emulation or something? On PC, I get it totally, but I mean, what the fuck's the point of that when you can just download the game anyways?
Working on Xbox at this time. And I think essentially, like, if you ended up going in that direction with that mindset, the question ends up being is like, is that a value proposition for Final Fantasy 11? And Yoshi P actually specifically talked about moving Final Fantasy 11 into the cloud, and that it actually could be well suited. That could just generally be for their server infrastructure, but also being able to play that in the client, in the cloud, on a browser would be really paramount to actually bringing this game out to more people. In fact, when we start to talk about kind of the things that keep people out of Final Fantasy 11, I think it's age, obviously. It's not necessarily going to be a game that appeals to the massive audience that Final Fantasy 14 has appealed, and that's where I think they're missing out on a key opportunity. I'm going to keep hammering this home. A key opportunity to be able to join these two games closer together in terms of that player base, to encourage people in Final Fantasy XIV's world maybe to check out their previous MMORPG. And I've heard from several of you who've done it who are actually really pleasantly surprised by the experience. It is truly a masterful and a magical world, even despite the fact
that is the fucking truth. So even like last night, I was playing and there's this new player from 14. And they were like shocked, and like they were shocked at how good the game still like is and holds up. Like, it's a different experience. Like, I was talking to my buddy about this, and he was like, he tried 11 like kind of by himself, and he didn't last that long. He didn't know about any of the graphics, like mods updates and stuff like that. And I can understand why it would be like a jarring experience without playing with anybody or like not having any context. I don't even know what server he started in, so maybe he picked like a shitty server. But like, it's funny too, because like, as I was explaining to him, he was like, "Oh, well, like, yeah, well, that UI is like very like weird. It like doesn't make sense. It's really bad." I'm like, "Well, like, you do realize that almost every other game has like just copied WoW with their UI for the most part. Like, generally speaking, that same type of like UI, like that skill, like, and you see like the little fucking circle that acts as a timer for the skills, and then okay, well, we're gonna semi-highlight or not highlight your next move to get the bonus. Like, 11 was not like that whatsoever. It's a different interface, and so many people are just used to like the relative like same interface that like I think they're just conditioned to like see anything. I would be willing to bet that they're conditioned to see anything else and probably just not like it right off the bat. You know, with that said too, I've seen, I've seen on Reddit, and I'm not sure if it was, well, actually, I've seen on Reddit, and I've seen in the Final Fantasy 11 Facebook group, people talk about either coming from 14 or WoW or like some other thing and being like, wow, I've never tried this game before. And so many people talk about how it doesn't have a story, and they're like shocked that it actually has like a really good story, and that the gameplay isn't bad. Like, and don't get me wrong, you're not going to get the same type of social experience you would have back in the day on retail, but retail is not that bad either. I mean, like, you can still social, like, people are just more social in general. I mean, as far as I've found on retail, than most MMOs. Yeah, I don't know. It's just it's super interesting to me when I'm like talking to people about that. And you know what kills me is that there are a bunch of old Final Fantasy 11 players who like shit on that. Damn, that shit's loud as fuck. What the hell? They like shit on it. And it's like they say that, oh, well, you've got nostalgia goggles. It's like, motherfucker, I've gone back and played classic and retail. I think you've got some like anti-nostalgia goggles on for some reason. Like, and it's maybe they've just converted to being like more casual. That's totally fine. But the thing is like you can actually, I've done it. I've played like on vanilla servers, classic servers, whatever you want to call them. I've played them casually. It's totally doable. It's totally fun. It's totally fine. And it's crazy because, yeah, you're not going to get like the shiny thing, like literally kind of like on screen where it says like merit point or you level up or like you're not going to get that as often. But like, is that what you need? Like, really, that's like, to me, that's the biggest difference with like Final Fantasy 14 being ultra casual and then like 11, right? You're just like, what's the difference if you're leveling in Volcrum Dunes and it takes you an hour to gain a level versus you're just spamming dungeon runs in 14 and you're leveling up? What's the difference, really? You're getting that shiny thing that says congratulations, right? You did it. You've done great. Like, it feels bad at one point. Like, it kind of devalues those, it devalues those said accomplishments. It doesn't make them feel like worth anything. To me, anyways. I suppose to other people, maybe, I don't know, maybe their dopamine just works differently. Not for me, though. I don't think, the thing is, too, is like, I can play 14 and enjoy it for what it is. I just don't understand those weird comparisons. Anywho, let's go back.
The fact that it's gone more solo, it really has a lot of charm to it. And while the game doesn't appear to be getting a massive
Another thing too is like, yeah, it has gone more solo, but real talk, you still feel like that party element. The fact that you can summon trusts, honest to God, it feels bad. Like, it feels better than 14 sometimes. The fact that 14 has added trusts recently actually feels kind of good too, because like if you're a DPS, you don't have to fucking wait for shit. Like, that's another thing. That's like the negative of 14 versus like 11 is like 11, they've already solved that problem. You just like, you can just get trusts. I personally don't mind waiting for parties and stuff like that because I like the human to human interaction. I don't know, maybe I'm weird. But you know, like before the trust system in 14, that shit was so, and it still kind of is depending on what level you're at. So like, yeah, 14 should have had that one like an expansion ago, I think. I mean, especially since they were deciding to go on like the ultra casual route, that should have been like a thing. But I mean, I know they tested it in Shadowbringers, to be fair. And for like that first patch after Endwalker, they've added it, but I don't know. I just feel like maybe they should have been quicker to the draw on that.
overall, I think if you start to remove some of the barriers that are naturally in there with its age, ultimately I think you end up having a better product itself. I don't think I can see them doing a console port with its own client, but that's where cloud porting and a cloud client actually would jump past all of those barriers.
Yeah, so he's
because all
talking
of a sudden
about
you
adding a
wouldn't
cloud
need
client.
to worry about publishing an Xbox
Yes, I didn't
version, a
think they had
PlayStation
one.
version, a Switch version. You just publish the cloud version, and as you know, as it relates to the people and the internet that they have available, then they could be able to be able to play it. And that actually would be my real main core question. For as much as I want to see more content, and honestly, if they're going to continue to support this game for the next 5 and 10 years, honestly, maybe a shift in the conversation into an expansion, perhaps. Who knows what else? Like the fact that they've got Final Fantasy XI in the state that it's in, it's profitable, people are actually interested in it, it's fun to play. Honestly, I think that, hopefully we can continue to see more and more support. They're currently doing their the new story that is going on in the game. And honestly, I think I should be able to try to find some time to be able to knock that out. Anyway, I just wanted to bring this to your attention. Get this on your calendar, an upcoming live stream over on Ginger Prime. Anyway,
So wait, what? Look, I like Brian. I've never had a problem with the guy. I think he's a pretty honest dude. I don't always agree with his content, but one thing he does, and Work to Game does this shit too. And if they ever fucking, by chance, if they were to ever hear this, they most likely 99% chance they won't. But if they ever do, fix your damn titles. Final Fantasy 11 AMA with the producer and director. Was this like, was he saying that this was his question? Like, they do know they can dub over these things and be like, or just do like a, like add like a little bit of like a webcam shot and be like, well, my question in relation to this, just so you know, my question would be, I don't know. We went and we started off with the AMA thing, and then we went off to like the whole cloud related shit. All right. What is this?
Meet Suvi, the magical all-in-one countertop kitchen robot.
The only thing about these things is I feel like let's say you have people over. That shit's not big enough. It's cool. It's not big enough. I mean, shit, look at that little ass pan. I'm a big man. I'm a big man. I'm not eating out of that little ass pan. It'd be good to fuck up some asparagus though. Maybe throw a little bit of seasoning or something. Butter. I like grilled asparagus personally, but just saying.
All right, guys, my internet has finally been restored, and so now I can
Actually fuck that shit, because I think the AMA starts at 9:30, right? So where the fuck's the link at? Well, that's interesting. Huh. Damn, look at these guys going hard. You know, it is a damn shame. It's like, it's so weird that like Final Fantasy 11 isn't. Whoa, what is this? Oh, it's 6. Okay. It's a shame that Final Fantasy 11 isn't as popular, because I feel like there are a good amount of people putting out content for it. I don't know. Maybe they'll get their time to shine. Let me figure out where the fuck this AMA is. We can do this for the meantime. Hello, adventurers of Vana'diel. Happy anniversary, or Vaniversary. Vaniversary. Okay. Producer Akihiko Mitsuri, or Mitsui. Is it Matsui? Yeah, it is Matsui. I don't know why I always said Matsuri. Why did I say that? Producer Akihiko Mitsui and director Yoji Fujito from Final Fantasy XI's development team reporting in. We received communication via Link Pearl that the Final Fantasy XI subreddit was interested in another AMA to celebrate the 20th anniversary. We have answered the call once more. As before, we're very excited to be part of this and would like to answer as many questions as possible, but we would like you to read over the guideline. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Start and end time. We'll be kicking off the Q&A officially at 6:30 p.m., so 9:30, but we're posting this thread ahead of time for everyone to start submitting their questions. I want to give our translators enough time to give us the questions in Japanese. We'll start posting responses as close to start time as possible. Wait, so is this going to be a video? Or is it just going to be, are they posting on Reddit? Because I've never been a part of one of these before. We'll be wrapping up. We will start posting responses. Okay, so they're going to be posting. We'll be wrapping up the Q&A at 8 p.m. and will not be answering any questions in real time after that. However, if we have the chance, we would like to answer some of the bigger questions on a separate occasion. You know damn well they mean like the question. I'm almost willing to bet. I'm going to bet in all of this. In Jesus, this is long actually. Holy shit. I'm willing to bet. Oh, okay, so it's not going all the way down. It goes to about here. That's still fucking long. I'm willing to bet they're going to. That means like the big announcement, quote unquote, right? And then I don't know. Maybe there's a few more. Let's take a look. Many thanks to Square Enix for holding another Reddit AMA. Here is a link to verification from the official Twitter. This is a thread to ask questions. Please remember to try. This is a thread to ask questions. Please remember to try and keep questions concise for the purpose of the translation efforts. Questions are open. AMA, head over to the thread and get your burning questions in. What is this? Is this the? This is a link, right? Okay, that is. Okay, he went Surrey directed. We'll be answering questions at 6:30 p.m. So right, coming up here in like a minute. Look at these little meanies. Okay. I love this artwork, by the way. It's funny, like when you put this in comparison to like old artwork, it almost kind of feels like a completely new game. Like I don't think these moles were around at that time. And the armor structure is really different. Like this shit is very 14 like too, like the skirt shit. It kills me with 14. I hate that skirt shit. I really, really, really do. It's like everything's a fucking skirt. Let's just read through some of these, I suppose. This one got like a ton of upvotes, so. The auto target feature in Final Fantasy XI is very clunky. In the event where multiple monsters are on screen, it almost always seems to target the monsters that are the furthest away for some reason, especially in Dynamis and Odyssey, where you are limited to a specific time. This is very annoying as it wastes time. Sometimes poor auto target leads to a loss of TP due to new monsters being out of range when you use your weapon skill at the same moment, where auto target activates as far away at. Wait, did I just say that wrong? Due to the new monster being out of range when you use your weapon skill at the same moment, where auto target activates a far away target. I feel like we just said that twice, but okay. Or the player now has to run through several large monster models just to attack the next monster if he doesn't switch to something close before that. Are you able to adjust auto target between the current default setting and another preset such as nearest target? You know, this is one of those things that I feel like it hasn't changed for 20 years. It's probably not going to change anytime soon. Is there any plans to make rewatching cutscenes easier? The stories of Final Fantasy XI are excellent, but it can be very troublesome to look for the minstrels and footprints. An easier way to rewatch cutscenes, such as Final Fantasy XIV's Unending Journey item in. I mean, he's right though, or she, or whoever it is, Sky Lagoon. That's right. You know, I think 11 had it, but I don't know if it ever truly like pushed it. The fact that they do have such a good like story, I feel like they should step into it more, especially like in 2022. That's really what's gonna bring like the casuals, and then kind of get them conditioned to liking like something that's a little bit harder. And oh my God, Yoshi, Yoshi, please. Not a dev, but I think I know the answer. I'm almost positive cutscenes are inextricably locked to their zones in most cases. That's a good point. They'd have to cache the assets for another zone in your Mog house in order to do this, which would be very difficult. That actually makes a fuck ton of sense. What about adding a viewing room in Juno or attached Mog? Attach the Mog house to accomplish such a thing. This will create a separate instance which may have its own increased load, as it'd be accessing zone data for all cutscenes, or maybe select which room the view and all. Yeah, okay. It'd be hard as fuck. My fucking nose is like stuffy. Thank you for all the enjoyment through the years and for doing this AMA. Over the years, relic weapons have started to lack power when compared to other weapons. For instance, the Mandaw is not seen as a good weapon to use. Are there any plans to bring relics up to their counterparts? They had said previously they intended to rebalance relic weapon skills in the future. Hopefully they take this question and give us some updates. +1. Motherfucker. Question. There are many locations mentioned throughout the game which we never had the opportunity to visit. The Mithra homelands, Rizawa in the north, etc. Was the full world map ever drawn up / is there a possibility of it ever being increased or being released? I'm sorry. You know, that does bring up the good point. I want to say like the east. What was it? I noticed like the east was like a big thing. Which I think they were planning to make like a almost like a Kugane, like if you're playing 14 type area. I think that was, if I remember correctly, that was like a thing. I could be wrong, but question. Would you please consider allowing players to store multiple Moglophone key Odyssey show blah 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 mystical key item for Omen. The ability to shift a static group from 3 to 2. Interesting. So you're basically shifting the static groups. Oh, that feels like that one's probably doable. Oh, this one's got 52. This is probably a good one. Thank you for all of your hard work over the years. Question. Even if there are currently no plans, would you please consider requesting a bigger budget and dedicated engineers to replace the PS2 development kits by creating new systems and a modern development environment for Final Fantasy XI, and then migrate all existing data and assets in order to resume major version updates? Even if it takes several years and incredible effort, many players feel it would be worth it for the game's future. Honest to God, that's so if you haven't been playing 11 for a long time, oh wait, let's finish before I answer this. Let me give this person a read through, because that's a big question. Addendum. Since the lack of PlayStation 2 development kits is the main reason why Final Fantasy XI currently only receives somewhat limited updates, it would be great to remove this limitation. A lot of players feel that it is becoming increasingly important to take measures to ensure the longevity of the game. We understand it would be extremely difficult and costly task to, it would be an extremely difficult and costly task to do so. But Final Fantasy XI has a very dedicated community, and even a lot of new returning players have been joining the game in recent years. Even if it is a financial risk, many of us, and it shouldn't fucking be that big of a risk. Be real. We're talking like, oh shit. We're talking like hiring like a few people to just go in and like actually try to do it. I think. Pretty positive, but I could be wrong. Feel is becoming increasingly important to make sure we understand that it'd be extremely difficult and costly task to do so, but Final Fantasy XI has a very dedicated community, and even a lot of new and returning players have been joining the game in recent years. Even if it is a financial risk, many of us players feel that Final Fantasy XI is deserving of this investment as a numbered title in the Final Fantasy series with a 20-year history that also supported the development of Final Fantasy XIV. That is some, you know what? Actually, hold on a second. You're gonna fucking get a like for that one, because that's a real ass question. Damn it, Reddit. Shifting these questions around. Okay. Oh, it was the first one because it's got the most likes. I'm an idiot. This is true as fuck. So Final Fantasy 14, I mean Final Fantasy 11. We can't forget, right? Final Fantasy 14 has been super successful. However, it wasn't until Asmongold started playing the game and definitely created an insane marketing PR campaign that Square Enix got lucky as fuck to get for free, that Final Fantasy XIV beat Final Fantasy XI in sales. Or I shouldn't say that, like revenue. That's huge. Like, it took something that big to finally beat 11. And to be fair, right? Like, what was it? I don't know if that gave retail a boost or not, because I wasn't playing retail at the time. But I would imagine it would have had to. There's probably some people who like maybe tested out like one of the private servers, and then they were like, nah, this really isn't for me. Or maybe they liked it. But I would imagine it probably gave retail a boost too. There's probably people who were like, oh, cool. Like maybe they started the story and they were kind of like interested in it. But yeah, it wasn't until Asmongold started playing 14 that 11 got that boost. That was like a real deal thing. I would definitely contribute a large sum of money for such a project, and I believe many players would. Honest to God, I would pay a premium. I would pay a damn premium. Put it on GoFundMe. I shit you not. You could pull something out of my paycheck every month for something like that. It's funny too, because like even Ninja, I want to say, I don't remember his exact words, but I remember him being on stream saying that he would throw like $1 million down or something to either get like a private server started or get like some kind of like remake going. I don't know. Honest to God, even just a graphics, like a slight graphics update would be amazing. It's doable, right? I mean, we can add graphic mods ourselves. Square Enix just doesn't want to do it. I think they just see that they have money coming in, and it's crazy that they've been so risky with everything, with like so many other things, but Final Fantasy 11, which has kind of been like a guaranteed like set of income for them for so long, is like something they don't want to be risky with. Makes no sense. I think they underestimate how willing players are to support the game to add new things. I feel the reason they don't want to add expansions is they think we don't want to play or want to pay. I'm sorry, which is nonsense. New things, over $40. That's a real one. Yeah, see, this person said exactly what I said. I would contribute GoFundMe for this. Honest to God, I wonder what would happen if someone made a GoFundMe for Final Fantasy 11 and like separate from Final Fantasy 11 and just fucking gave them the money afterwards. I wonder what they would do. Okay, let's move on. Kanagi, katana, Empyrean weapon has blah, blah, blah. Okay, I don't give a fuck about this. Basically, I think I saw this one earlier. Basically, there's like weird stat placements on like katana weapon, which is for ranged attack, and then one of the bows, I don't know if it's like an Empyrean bow or what, has dex damage, which is meant for melee attacks, and they're like, WTF, mate, why'd you do that? So other people have kind of been like, yeah, that doesn't make sense. Since previous AMA questions regarding remastering and reworking have been answered, will Square Enix officially endorse and or allow player-created programs such as Windower and Ishida? If not, will Square Enix publish a developer ecosystem to prolong the longevity of the game? That's a great fucking question. This is actually a fucking five-head question. They really cannot do this because third-party tools and downloads always have the chance to expose people to technological problems. And fuck them. That's true. That's true. I don't know. There's got to be something they could like put in place. Although this person's probably right. The thing is like Square Enix would be put on the chopping block for that, potentially legally. So they're probably not gonna do that. Would it be possible to gender change similar to... That question I feel like has been answered before. I want to say that's a no. I want to say that's a no for a specific reason that I don't remember the answer to. Although, maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking of something else, because they did say a while back that I'm pretty sure people have gotten banned for some of the add-ons and stuff that do that client side. Or no. Yes, client side. No, I think that was a long time ago, but the thing is it would have to be server side, which would then allow other clients to see you like that. But I don't know, maybe it's doable if they allowed something client side that was able to change that. I'm not sure. Can the devs describe any efforts that are on the table for further modernizing the game? That's a good question too. We've all been to Blue Blade Fell in Lufus Meadows, and that's the closest we've gotten to Tabnazia. Is there a chance we'll ever... This person copied my damn question 2 hours ago? When was mine? What the fuck? Yeah. I don't know when this person asked, but fuck them. We've all been to Blue Blade Fell in Lufus Meadows. And that's the closest we've gotten to Tabnazia. Is there a chance we'll ever get to see the city in person? The past hustling and bustling town, or even the current dragon-ridden ruins? Either one would be thrilling to finally explore. Thank you so much for efforts in the game. That's true. That's true, though. Um, I always thought it would make for an amazing raid of some kind. Yeah, like a raid or expansion. This is what I've been saying. Like, give me like a raid or expansion for this. I think it'd be cool if that was a new expansion that you got through a storyline mission to reclaim that area and reestablish the city once again. And maybe find some way to tie Final Fantasy 11 and 14 together in a storyline. I don't know how I feel about that. 14's got a pretty unique story. I don't think 11 isn't. I don't think 11 would tie to that very well. I mean, there's definitely spots where it could, but I don't know. Would you please consider allowing solo characters or parties with fewer than 3 members to enter delve? Okay, so just like dynamis areas and stuff like that. A lot of players prefer to play alone these days, but the minimum requirement of 3 players prevents them from accessing the aforementioned content, unlike Omen or Odyssey. It should be added that much of this content is no longer regularly participated in on lower population servers. On Bismarck, I've seen a shout for others, not more. Yes, please remove 3-person entry requirement. I feel like that's fair, actually. Like for the lower population servers specifically. Well, not specifically, but in particular, I should say. As a community, we have a tendency to notice things about the game that we are dissatisfied with, but accept them as things that can't be fixed due to budget constraints. Is there anything we, as fans and players of Final Fantasy XI, can do that would help encourage Square Enix to invest more? That's a fucking great question. That's an awesome question. The game was designed for 56K modems with a peak download bandwidth requirement of about 6 kilobytes, 2.5 kilobyte packets every 400 milliseconds. Modern internet connections have much higher bandwidths. What prevents you from modestly increasing the bitrate to provide a more responsive experience? That's a great question too, actually. There's probably it's probably coded like a very specific way, or honest to God, I wouldn't even be surprised if that became a play online answer. Savage Blade is clearly a problem that trivializes 99% of content, compounded by the fact that, okay, I don't really care about that. Those are like technical questions that, yeah, they matter, but I want the big questions. Are there any plans to add missing additional effects, proc messages, or to the chat log? Examples of this are things like the spell effect when using Shield Bash with Cab, the gauntlets, or multiple blue spells with additional effects. Possible to change jug pets into key items in order to save inventory space. Thank you. Yeah, that's a thing. Inventory space is a bitch. Would you please consider making individual job adjustments again, such as Black Mage, Ninja, Pup, Summoner, Beastmaster, Thief? Could use some adjustments to make them more useful during party play. Additional suggestions. Is there a chance that we might get the ability to unlock relic weapon skills on all weapons, similar to how we can with Mythic, Empyrean, and Merit Aeonic weapon skills? I could only support the change if they actually overhaul relic weapon effects. The vast majority of them currently are justified only by their weapon skills. Mages have always been on the receiving end of nerfs over the years. Death bursting was one of the primary stats used for making Aeonic weapons when they were first added, which led to a burst wall being implemented down the line, effectively putting black mages in particular on the sidelines. It affects all mages in general, though. Later on, players started using summoners to conduit burn these NMs, and while the strats while the strat is still used today, a majority of content has been penalized with a blood pack wall as countermeasures to prevent this option. Even without the use of Astral Conduit, the option of balancing renders multiple summoner parties effectively useless. To the actual question, has there even been any thought put into better balancing options that players use the devs considered too strong? Instead of outright nerfing them into the ground to remove the option entirely. I don't know why I thought that was a period for a second. I mean, Savage Blade spam with nagling on everything is okay, but we can't have Summoner and Black Mages perform their actual job. Yeah, right now you have to explain Geo to not nuke before Black Mage so he doesn't gimp party damage. So often Geo and Red Mage don't burst to let Black Mage Scholar do more damage. Penalty should come after more MB and be removed for 6-man content. Odyssey. Thanks for doing the AMA. They should be starting to answer questions. Oh, nice. They have started answering questions. Okay, we are going to transition over. Be willing to consider building... Oh. This one has come in. Would you be willing to consider bundling 11 and 14 subs again, like they were during Final Fantasy 14 1.0? Even if it was a slightly more expensive subscription, I think that would allow more 14 players to try the game with minimal inconvenience to them. We would like to consider this for the future. Continue this thread because... And do you plan on playing it long term alongside 14? That's honestly, honest to God, Square Enix, figure it out, because like for real, I mean, one, start a fucking Shopify store for fuck's sake, because their website is atrocious when it comes to like these payment plans and shit. So that's number one. Number two, bundle that shit, because like 11 is in like the perfect space to like, or I'm sorry, 11. Square Enix is in like the perfect space to have like an old school game and that new school game and like take over both, right? Like that's the thing. World of Warcraft players will probably want something a little bit harder and more like old school to play as well, if they're going to be pushing away WoW. But they can have 14, they can have that casual experience, or they can go to something that's a little harder. 11 now, like retail, isn't like that hard, but it is a different game. That's sick. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Even if there are currently no plans, would you please consider requesting big... Okay. That was that one we read previously. We would if we could, but considering how the game would be... Oh, that's a weird answer. We would if we could, but considering how the game would need to be decoupled from Play Online, as well as data format and development tools overall, this would be no easy feat. That's what I've come to understand. This is why we believe an actual remake for this game is what's really needed. I wish we could show you how big this would be. It would absolutely blow up globally. Look, I like classic vanilla 11, and I just don't. And that's not great. Let's see what they've answered. Would you please consider allowing solo character or parties with fewer than 3? Okay, this is that for Dynamis, the fewer than 3 people. A player restriction for the contents you have listed are there to help lessen the server load. Wait, what? The player restrictions for the content you have listed are there to help lessen the server load. Therefore, for content that is congested, we will keep the restrictions, but for others, we may consider making adjustments. That was a not answer. Like, they didn't really answer. Server load. What the fuck? That's an instance. I mean, unless they're saying they've got, like, so little server space that they can't even afford to have people soloing Dynamis. That's fucking wild. That's actually really wild. Should be added that much of the content is no longer regularly participating in. Okay, that's what that guy said. Huh. Would it be possible to add an item that allows race gender change similar to Final Fantasy XIV's Fantasia system? While it is possible, we learned that we would have to revamp several aspects of the back end. We would need to see if there is enough demand to justify the development costs. That's fair. How do you plan to find out? That's also a good question. Thank you for all the enjoyment through the years and for doing this AMA. Over the years, relic weapons have started to lack power when compared to other weapons. For instance, the Mando is not a good weapon. Are you plan to bring relic weapons with their counterparts? We currently have no... Jeez. You know, that's the thing about some of these AMAs. They just give, like, the straight answer, and it feels kind of bad. Like, there's no elaboration. We might have to refresh. Might have to refresh. I don't think... Oh, here we are. Hi, my brother and I have shared an account since North American launch. Oh, about to get banned. No, I'm just kidding. We have other accounts too now, but we've always wanted to play together on our original characters. Have you ever considered a character transfer system or simultaneous login, perhaps with a fee? We aren't considering this at the moment. Enabling character transfers between accounts would foster account selling. That's fair. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually. Unfortunately, for all the people who were younger that used to share accounts, I remember people doing that. But if they were to split those accounts, real money trading would be fucking bonkers. Let's see if they answered any more. Oh, they did. Hello and thank you for this AMA. Would it be possible to add players into blacklists as easily as it is to add someone into a party? Something like search all player name option, add blah, blah, blah. It would be appreciated if you could please report them to... Yeah, so that's a big no. We're going to have to refresh here in a second because... let's do... We're almost there. I think let's just do a refresh. If we have to go past halfway, then fuck that. Okay. We saw that one. They pretty much said no for this one. Would you please consider allowing solo... Okay, yeah, that was no as well. Would it be possible... Okay, race gender change. No, we saw that one. Phone... Okay, would you please consider allowing players to store multiple Moglaphone key items for Odyssey... and key items for... Okay. We'll observe the congestion surrounding Odyssey and consider this. That was a big... they've definitely been really stingy with elaborations on some of their answers thus far. Thank you for all the enjoyment through the years and for doing this AMA over the years. Okay, this is the relic weapon one. We already did that. Let's see. Oh, this is a cool one. Is there any plans to make rewatching cutscenes easier? The stories of Final Fantasy XI are excellent, but it can be very troublesome to look for the minstrels and footprints. An easier way to rewatch cutscenes, such as Final Fantasy XIV's unending journey, that earlier. Not a dev, but I think I know the answer. I'm almost positive cutscenes are inextricably Yep. That person, oh my god, Yoshi, please. One, hilarious name. Two, they were spot on. This is that shared account thing. Yeah, the real money trading would be an issue. Let's take a look. I think for this AMA, would it be possible to add... Okay, that's the blacklist one. They basically said no. Because they want you to report players. Some fans have been able to do HD textures to the game. Oh, this is a question I had. Well, that's not my question, but this is a question that I've been thinking of. To the game, zones and characters, so the game can handle this. A graphical update would be possible, maybe with AI upscaling to reduce the amount of work. Do you consider it? We are not currently considering... I would fucking... If this wasn't an incognito tab, I'd downvote that. Just like work with someone, work with like some of those other creators and just make that shit standard. Maybe like get one of the 14 like X11 developers or art directors or someone. Give them a budget, like just a small budget to just kind of go through some of the textures and then like decide what is more lore friendly and what's not. I don't understand that one. That one could be so much less work than it needs to be. Let's take a look. I'm waiting to see the Tabnazia one. There's been a few people who've asked the Tabnazia question, the Tabnazia capital. They better answer that one. And it better not be a, we don't plan on doing this. I want elaborations in this motherfucker. Lore question. There was a few crossover events between Final Fantasy XIV and 11 in the past. Might we one day get a story that definitely links the world of Vana'diel with that of Hydaelyn? I don't agree with that, personally. I know in Final Fantasy XIV they've made kind of lore connections like with Shintaro, and that all the races are like of Final Fantasy XI are like what like the races of old, which later became the current like Mithra, Makote, Tarutaru, Lalafell, etc., etc. This guy got downvoted too. I do feel bad for that. This person was probably just genuinely asking a question. That kind of sucks. For example, we had a character named Medion in Final Fantasy XIV that traveled to many different planets. This is definitely a Final Fantasy XIV, and good for them. That's awesome that a Final Fantasy XIV player. I've met a few of them personally that have come into 11 and that have really been surprised at how much they like 11. It sucks that the community kind of downvoted that. I get why, like from an 11 player's perspective, I get why, but should be a little nicer about that. Maybe give a nice little comment. You know, let's see if someone else was. Didn't they retcon the name Hydaelyn to just refer to the primal and the name? That's true too, but I think it's more or less that people, although that would be funny. I think people just, I think NPCs still call it Hydaelyn, but like the name of the planet is Etheria. Unless next expansion people, or even like next patch or something, people start calling it Aetherius. That shouldn't, in theory, know about that, but whatever. All right, let's keep digging. Let's keep looking for developer answers here. All right, they're making us dig. They're making us dig hard this time. We're getting kind of close to the end, so we might have to refresh again. Yep. So we're gonna have to refresh again. Oh wait. I'm wrong. Stop. There's a fuck ton more. Wait. Not seeing them. 12 more. Okay. You know what? Hold on a second. This is going to get on my nerves. I need to have some kind of background noise here. I'm too ADD for this shit. Okay, I just saw a title for something. I'm not sure if this is true, but that's fucking wild if New World is getting axed. I thought that game maybe had a chance, but I could be hella motherfucking wrong. I know a lot of people really like that too. Okay. Let me know if that shit's too loud. Just kind of keep it a little low. All right, let's go through. This is something that, like, this is awesome. We would like to consider this for the future. This alone, bundling 11 and 14 would just that would increase 11's player base like probably tenfold. Okay, so we went through that one. Like solo characters, few. I don't understand. If anybody has a better understanding of this, I actually don't understand this. Would you please consider allowing solo characters or parties with fewer than 3 members to enter delve, incursion, vagary, and divergence areas? A lot of players prefer to play alone these days, but the minimum requirement of 3 players prevents them from accessing the aforementioned content, unlike Omen or Odyssey. Their answer: the player restriction for the contents you have listed are there to help lessen the server load. Therefore, for content that is congested, we will keep the restrictions, but for others, we may... Well, actually, never mind. Did I read that wrong? Or did they change that? Maybe they changed it? It also, I thought it was 2 lines, not 3 lines. Maybe they changed this answer. For player restrictions for the contents you've listed are there to help lessen the server load. Therefore, for content that is congested, we will keep this... Okay, so this makes sense. So for content that is congested, we will keep the restrictions, but for others, we may consider making adjustments. I think that's fair. I'm pretty positive they changed this answer because it was actually shorter. Maybe possible add on race gender change, probably, but probably not. Basically, client players. Okay, that one. So a lot of these are. I've noticed so many of their answers are tied around like server load. I'm so curious to find out like what their server space is so tight. I wonder what would happen if they started getting a bunch more players. Like, let's say they combined the Final Fantasy 11 and 14 subscriptions together, and a ton of people signed up for 11. I wonder if they would even be able to I wonder if the servers could handle that. I'm feeling like no. Over the years, relic kit. So they have no plans to fix relic weapons. So then the cutscenes. So for people who want like cutscenes to be tied to mod homes, they basically said they can't do that, or it'd be difficult to address. So they're not. I mean, they didn't say they're not going to do it, but they're not going to do it. Okay, here we go. I know there's a hard limit on how many people can be in Unity chat at once, but could it be possible to upgrade some more trust, like, I've never said this name right, Valaneral, like Valaneral was. If the non-Unity healer or Unity damage dealers got similar reworks, it would provide some incentive for people to branch out more into the lesser used Unity leaders, and similarly allow more people to actually enter the Unity chat channel. Valaneral was adjusted in light of the Paladin adjustments, and also to differentiate him from the logic for Tryon. In a similar way, we may update other alter egos alongside job adjustments if we find any that may exhibit odd behavior. Alright. You know, they had like how many hours beforehand to like get answers and translate? Unless they're like shooting. Their team's small, so I feel like these answers shouldn't take that long to kind of shoot it out. I could be wrong, but... And that's the real money trade tied to splitting accounts. HD texture packs, they basically said fuck you. But fuck them, because I'm using them. And think that it may be possible to add players in like the blacklist thing. Blah blah blah. That one really wasn't a crazy question, anyways. I feel like they're just not answering a lot of these questions that have kind of, these aren't like an overwhelming amount of questions either for how long they had. Oh, damn, Square Enix. Let's figure it the fuck out. Like, all of their answers are just like, we have like half of them, and there's not very many. We have no plans for something like this. Damn, I feel bad. That person keeps getting more dislikes every time we refresh. Final Fantasy 11 players out there. I know we're a unique breed. And I know we grew up during a different time, but we've got to be nicer. All right? Not everyone is trying to troll. I know we have PTSD from those times, the before times. But not everyone is coming after us. We can put our guards down a little bit. Oh shit, that's not what I want to do. Alright, I'm about to refresh this shit. I'm not trying to... Those are like the DJing questions, I guess. I feel like I'm like rolling dice. Am I actually gonna get good answers? There's that one. I wonder if they like respond again to some of these. I'm telling you, this will be the #1 game in the world. I love this guy to death. I love his enthusiasm. And don't get me wrong, like I said previously, I'm an 11 classic player. But damn, I have to admit, World of Warcraft beat our asses back in the day. I don't think the normies are gonna come in droves like that. What the fuck are they doing? Are they just not answering questions? Oh, here we go. Wait. Oh, okay, nice. This is a thing. This is a big one too. Question. Make sure this shit's turned down so it's not. can the development team please add quality of life additions to the UI, such as official mini map support? Yeah, so I don't have to fucking hack mine in. New movable and adjustable sizes for UI elements to keep track of skill chains and what can combo into them via visual indicators and fuck that. Like, we don't need everything. Like, we don't need everything tailored for us. Like, so, like, don't get me wrong. I can already kind of see how this is going. Skill chain combos. This is a 14 player. Along with other great UI features that. How did I know? Tell me how I knew. Tell me how I knew. Skill chains and what can combo. Might as well said they played World of Warcraft too. I definitely also too. Let me just say this right now. Unironically, I might get hate for this. I actually might get hate for this. I unironically like having a clean UI. Like, I like the fact that with Final Fantasy XI, sometimes nothing is on the fucking screen. There's not a goddamn thing on the screen. And I can just see the world when I'm traversing it. I love it. I actually unironically love it. I don't want a million fucking UI things on the screen. I hate that shit. It feels like a fucking mobile game. I understand the game is much older than Final Fantasy XIV and in turn uses much older lines of code to add what Final Fantasy XIV has on display, but fans have dedicated so much love and support over the years into third-party tools to make the game more user-friendly to both new and returning players alike. Yeah, so just fuck it. You know, just make it more casual. Can the team in charge of the game take some time and add more modern-day MMO UI elements to its system configuration to help the game experience be better on a daily basis and simultaneously pull in and retain newcomers to the game that may be arriving from Final Fantasy XIV? Damn, you get me fired up and all of a sudden I can start reading again. UI suggestions. AI elements should be movable and resizable within the game itself. Minimap. Skill chain UI tracker system. Even though that's not even like, yeah, skill chains, possibly. And like, it would be kind of cool to see something. I'll throw him a bone. Did something like like if multiple people did certain skills, it would trigger. All right, you have the option to either do A skill, B skill, or magic burst or something like that. Whatever the fuck. Those hidden skill chain abilities. That would be kind of cool. However, I hate that shit. I hate those like little buttons that you see and you see the little scrolling wheel to indicate the time. I hate that shit. Fuck that. Instant content UI tracker. On-screen equipment window option. I don't understand that actually. I know tons of people who play 11 use that, but like, what's really the point for that? I don't understand. I mean, you could set your macros to gear swap anyways, so what's the deal? So on-screen equipment window options at all time for gear swapping info assistance. Info assistance, dude. You know what you added to your gear. Just do it. Updates to missions and quests that have icons on the map. No. See, you don't need like all of this. Like, I don't like the game. The person just asking the game to be ultra casual. Structure leading to less new returning players and escort, using a wiki to advance through the story and job quests. And the thing is you don't necessarily. Explain to me how my dumbass at like 7, or how old was I? 10 years old? Explain to me how my dumbass 10, 11, or 12-year-old, whatever I was able to figure out tons of those missions and tons of quests without a wiki at the time. Because there wasn't a wiki at the time. Explain that. And let me tell you right now, I was a dumbass little kid. I would rival people on that. And I was able to figure it out. So, I just don't understand. I don't understand needing to be like coddled the entire time. Like, it's just not fun. Final Fantasy XI is not supposed to be that game. And I get it. It's way more casual now. That's totally fine. But like, we don't need everything. These are just some ideas and suggestions to help new and returning players enjoy playing the game more in 2022 and onward without having to stress about needed so many outside sources to help in order to make the game feel more modern and user-friendly. Thank you for your time. And it's not supposed to feel as user-friendly because it's supposed to be a little bit more hardcore. And it's not even that hardcore. Back in the day, like compared to actual hardcore games, like I don't even think most people considered it hardcore. There was hardcore content for sure, but like you could play it casually. Thank you for your time, and hope some positive quality of life improvements can eventually make it their way to the game officially as an option. What did Square Enix say? You said F you to everyone else. I expect something of the lines here. We attempted this in the past, but the current UI system is extremely tied into fundamental systems. We learned that updating it would inflate development costs by an overwhelming amount and had to abandon the endeavor. I never thought I would say this, but thank God. Thank God you guys can't develop your own game. I love the Final Fantasy XI gear swapping meta. There's nothing like it in any other game. Okay, we got a truer over here. We got a truer over here on Reddit. The planning and execution of each gear set is so satisfying. Was the game always planned to have gear swapping in and out, or did that come along later in development or after launch? For Final Fantasy XI, there's no concept of being in and out of battle, and it was always possible to change equipment at any time. Isn't that something you can like ask on the forums or something? I feel like. Look at me. Okay, so that Unity chat one. I can't tell if it's gonna storm or if that's in the fucking lo-fi thing. Alright, that one we saw. Told us fuck off with the texture packs. I feel like every time I pass that one, I'm gonna repeat that. When did they say they were gonna stop answering questions in this motherfucker? At 8 p.m. So 11 o'clock. So they've had an hour and a half to answer like what, 5 questions? Yeah, that one wasn't. Oh, okay, this is interesting. So basically this person's asking, or basically saying that mages have always been on the receiving end of nerfs, right? And then they go on to explain like specifics to that. To the actual question, has there even been any thought put into better balancing options that players use that the devs consider too strong instead of outright nerfing them into the ground to remove the option entirely? Entirely? I mean, Savage Blade spam with nagling on everything is okay, but we can't have Summoner and Black Mage perform their actual jobs. Recent adjustments have all been buffs. With that said, the reason for nerfing many strategies in the past was because they enabled players to defeat an enemy regardless of difficulty by employing the strategy alone. Outside of these situations, we'd like to continue with only buffs moving forward. I mean, that's a decent answer. Here's another answer to the cutscenes. Is there any plan on making cutscene? But it can be very troublesome to look for the minstrels and oh wait, no, we did read this one. They said there's like a technical limitation, right? Well, we agree with you. The cutscenes data is tied to the area itself. Yeah, because someone said that earlier. Relic weapons, they said no. I don't know how people hated on the other Final Fantasy XIV person's lore question, but they didn't hate on that. Thank you for the answer. I do have a follow-up. Assist the dev team in saving money and time and have them donate their work to Square Enix for official use and assimilation. Would that be an option worth pursuing in due time? Assuming the people who helped create the tools and add-ons are willing to work with you and provide anything at all needed for official incorporation, would that be an impossibility? That's actually a good question, though. Wait, what the hell? While Paladin and Room Fencer enjoy widespread use, other tanks like Ninja and Puppet Master are used for more specific things. Likewise, Warrior and Dark Knights can somewhat tank for off-tank, but lack proper tools to maintain enmity and operate without a full team supporting them. Are there any changes or items that are being considered to allow these less capable tanks to be a little more useful? We currently have no plans to improve their tanking capabilities at these as these jobs are well suited for DPS. That's another thing about retail that kind of like bugs me a little bit. It's not like it never was in the back in the day, like kind of a thing, but the Holy Trinity, I liked how like the Holy Trinity was like slightly less of a thing for the most part. Like people were a little bit more creative, but I suppose when you use trust, you can be as creative as you want, solo-wise, but I don't like boxing those jobs into like those roles too hard. Unless you're doing like super like hard high-end content, then you don't really have a choice. Then it kind of makes sense, but I've done some creative stuff in the past. I have to refresh again. More question. Oh. How did that end up at the top? Or at the bottom? I thought we just passed that one not that long ago. I like this drum groove. This one's definitely gotten the most attention. I mean, that's huge. This is something that people have been asking for a long time. So, and again, it's only gonna bring more players to Final Fantasy XI, so that's pretty sick. Oh, also too, in that Yoshi P interview, he did state that basically how it works is like 11 just borrows developers from 14. So I suppose like a combined sub. Combined sub would maybe it would give 11 a bit more of a budget in general. Like maybe it would just get more attention, or maybe it just everything would just go to 14. I suppose I don't really know. I feel like they're just like not answering questions. Like there's 3 hours beforehand. I don't know if this is like normal for them. But it's kind of lame. I have 2 questions. Okay, this is a little interesting. I have 2 questions. If you can get to them. Why is that so hard to read? Holy shit. I have 2 questions if you can get to them. 1. Are there currently any plans to allow Omnicrafters? Wait, what? Are there currently any plans to allow Omnicrafters? Will we be able to level all crafting professions at... Wait, am I crazy? Did that change? I thought that was already a thing. That threw me off. No, I'm not wrong. Wait, what? I don't understand that. 2, there were a few low-level... Why would... Like, if they're not answering so many questions and that's the one they pick to answer? It's so weird. There are a few low-level quests that have level caps that are very difficult to complete because no one is doing them. Are there any plans to remove or possibly raise level caps on quests like the big one or the Summoner trial-size quests? Dog, you can solo those. That is not undoable. As for 1... As you may be aware, there are recipes that require multiple skills, and the rate in which an HQ is made is based on the current skill cap, which also balances the economy, so we have no plans to change this. And then they just said, fuck your other question. Interesting. It's that lore question again. And just no one is getting their questions answered. This is crazy. I had high hopes for this, but I mean, maybe not high hopes, but I just had higher hopes. Let's see if they answered some of these, because this is kind of wild right now. Is there something I missed in here? Added to the monthly subscriptions like in WoW Classic. What the fuck? Why did this guy get downvoted? Akin to progress style server the way EverQuest does with TLP. Nobody can decide to extract exactly the entire or consider a class of sign. So this is a true thing. I've had this conversation multiple times, but nobody can decide on the exact date or timeline of what would be considered classic Final Fantasy XI. This is why I would propose the development team to look into a classic server that moves through the expansions and steadily unlocks them over time. That is actually sick. That's what I was saying before. I feel like they just need to do seasons of stuff. Like, and make the seasons last over like certain amounts of years and make it be well known that this is just an experience. The server will refresh and they'll just kind of leave it be. And if you want to play it, you can play it. And if you don't, you don't. It's like an extra charge. Make it just be like an extra character charge or something. All it is just going in and updating and it's more or less just like you're just resetting shit. Now initially there's going to be certain bugs and stuff though. Like here's the hard part of that, is that back then there were certain bugs that people remember that they will try to exploit, and I suppose that's going to be a little bit of an issue. But I mean, like I said also too before that, people have already gone and done this stuff, so they're not gonna do that. It's peak during treasures. I wouldn't go past that if I finally do it. I wouldn't mind as Stug Rise servers or COP either, so honestly it's up to them, but the fact is gonna be question may be tired to some people, but it's still a valid one. The game has so many people, at least a server or two worth of people playing private servers. It's a win-win for them to do it, to get those people back, or even one server worth, and bring back people who would only play if it was the authentic SE server. The question is so tough. Shut up. M Blah. Blah is like right. Blah like makes sense for your name. I mean, that's how Blizzard made the classic server, because it was so asked about it, and it's the same thing here. Asked about it, and it's the same thing here. They also didn't have the code for classic servers. That's because it's extremely popular and should happen, assuming we never are getting a remake. So many haters downvoting questions up and down. Yeah, that's pretty much it. This was answered in PAX 2020 AMA. I'll leave that one on the sidelines then. I want to find that one later.
I've been having these weird thoughts lately. Like, is any of this for real or not?
All right, well, they're taking their dear sweet time answering questions. I think I'm going to be right back.
Whoa. Gosh, it looks kind of different now.
Because they're not answering. Alright, I'm gonna use the restroom. I'll be right back, and then I think I'm gonna grab something to drink as well. Grab like a water or something.
Maybe it was all or nothing.
Lucky kid.